Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're tackling a really popular topic for English learners, shadowing.
That's right.
Now, we know a lot of you want to, get effective language strategies quickly, thoroughly, without feeling overwhelmed.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's just dive right in.
Okay, so shadowing.
Yeah.
Lots of learners try it, right? They watch maybe a video or two, and then they're like, why isn't this working? I'm not fluent yet.
Yeah, I hear that a lot. It's confusing.
It really is. It's a bit like, trying to hammer a nail with a screwdriver. You're doing something, but maybe not the right thing for the job.
Okay.
So our mission today, really, is to understand what shadowing is, and crucially, how you can use it properly, effectively, to actually boost your fluency. We're basing this on a great video tutorial we found.
Okay, good. Let's unpack that. The tutorial started by breaking down fluency itself. It's not just one thing, is it? It mentioned 5 core elements.
That's right, 5. And you need them all working together. Just focusing on one won't cut it.
So what's the first one?
First up is encoding. Think of it like, well, it's how your brain subconsciously memorizes whole blocks of English, ready-made phrases.
Ah, okay. So not just individual words, but chunks like how are you or nice to meet you.
Exactly. You absorb them as a single unit. It's subconscious.
Got it. What's number 2?
Second is organization. This is how you mentally file those chunks away, by topic.
Right.
So if you want to talk about food, your brain pulls up the food phrases easily.
Like a mental filing cabinet. Makes sense. Keeps things tidy and quick to access. Okay, third.
Third is activation. This is key. It's about stopping that translation habit from your first language.
Yeah, the constant translating in your head.
Right. And getting rid of that slow, hesitant speech. Activation is about making the English flow automatically.
That mental lag is so frustrating. Okay, element number 4.
Number 4 is motor skill. This is the physical side of it.
Physical.
Yeah, using your mouth, your face muscles, getting the rhythm right, the pronunciation, the sound quality.
Ah, okay. The actual mechanics of speaking.
Precisely. And this is where shadowing really shines. It directly targets this motor skill.
I see the connection now. Okay, and the 5th and final element.
The last one is cognitive load. Basically, how much brain power it takes you to speak.
Like computer RAM.
Exactly like RAM. That's a great way to put it. The more fluent you are, the less mental effort it takes. Freeing up your brain to focus on what you want to say, not how to say it.
Okay, those 5 elements, encoding, organization, activation, motor skill, cognitive load, that's a really helpful framework. So with that in mind, let's tackle the big question. I'm doing shadowing, but it's not making me fluent. Why?
Yes, this is crucial. And that screwdriver analogy comes back in here.
Right, using the wrong tool for the job.
Exactly. Shadowing is a fantastic tool, a powerful exercise, but it's specifically designed for improving that motor skill.
So making your speech physically smoother, more natural sounding, easier for people to follow.
Precisely. It helps with the physical delivery of the language.
But it's not a magic wand for everything else.
Definitely not. It won't magically fix issues with, say, learning new vocabulary chunks that's encoding, or organizing your thoughts organization, or stopping translation activation, or feeling less stressed when speaking cognitive load.
So if those other areas are your weak spots, shadowing alone won't solve it.
You've got it. You need different exercises targeted at those specific problems.
Yeah.
Shadowing is for the physical fluency aspect.
Okay, that clears things up a lot. So let's say motor skill is what someone needs to work on. How do they do shadowing effectively? Because just repeating words isn't the whole story.
Not at all. First things first. The tutorial stressed using high-quality materials.
Meaning?
Natural audio, real conversations, interviews, stories, not that stiff robotic audio you sometimes get in textbooks.
Right, you need something that sounds like actual human speech.
Then the first active step is to really study the material before you shadow. Don't just jump in.
Study how? Read the transcript.
More than that, listen closely. Pay attention to how the speaker chunks words together. Where do they pause naturally?
The phrasing.
Yes. And notice the intonation, the melody of the voice, the rhythm, how they speed up or slow down. These aren't random. They carry meaning.
So you're analyzing the musicality of it, almost.
You could say that. Then, the next step. Get the script, listen again, and this time, try to mimic simultaneously.
At the same time as the speaker.
Yes. And really focus on matching all those things you just noticed, the chunks, pauses, intonation, rhythm, speed changes. Try to sync up perfectly.
That sounds intense. Requires real concentration.
It does. That focus is what makes it work. Once you feel okay doing it with the script,
Yeah.
try with just the audio, no script.
Yeah.
And the focus shifts slightly. It's less about perfect word recall,
And more about
more about nailing the rhythm, the flow, the chunking, capturing the overall sound and pace. Don't stress about catching every single word perfectly at this stage.
so feel the rhythm, copy the flow.
Exactly. And the tutorial really hammered home, rinse and repeat.
Keep practicing.
Yeah, there's no magic number of minutes. Do it for a few minutes daily. Stick with one piece of audio until you feel you've kind of absorbed its rhythm, then move on.
Okay. Now, you mentioned chunking a few times. Let's dig into that. Why is focusing on word groups so vital rather than just saying each word clearly?
This is such a key insight from the tutorial.
Yeah.
If you pronounce every single word separately and distinctly,
Yeah.
it can actually sound unnatural and be harder for native speakers to understand you.
Really? Why is that?
Because native speakers don't process language word by individual word. Their brains don't work like that when listening or speaking.
So how do they do it?
They rely on these chunks, pre-formed blocks of words stored together in long-term memory.
Like the how are you example again.
Precisely. It makes speaking and listening efficient. They expect to hear language delivered in these familiar chunks. Their brains aren't building sentences from scratch, word by word all the time.
Can you give another example? The tutorial had a good one.
Yes, the picture example. Saying make a picture is technically correct grammar,
But
but it sounds a bit odd, a bit clunky, whereas take a picture just flows. It's a standard common chunk.
I see. Take a picture is the expected phrase.
Right. So when you shadow, actively listening for and mimicking these chunks trains your brain to produce and recognize these natural groupings.
Making your English sound more natural and easier for others to follow.
You got it. Now, another point the tutorial raised was about speed. Lots of learners think native speakers talk incredibly fast,
Oh yeah, definitely. It feels like warp speed sometimes.
but it's more complex than that. Native speakers vary their speed deliberately.
How so?
Well, they might speed up for excitement or telling a story quickly, but they'll slow down for emphasis or seriousness or sadness. Pauses are used for effect too.
So it's not constant speed.
Not at all. And shadowing forces you to notice and copy these variations. It's not just about keeping up, it's about matching the meaningful changes in pace.
Understanding why the speed changes, that's interesting.
And related to this, those chunks we talked about, they often sound fast because of blending. Yeah, where sounds at the end of one word merge into the beginning of the next, like, let us give it a go becomes, let's give it a go.
Smoother, quicker.
Exactly. Happens all the time with frequent chunks. So listening for that blending during shadowing is important too.
This is all super helpful, but what if someone tries shadowing and it just feels really, really hard? Like impossibly difficult.
Good question. The tutorial addressed this directly. Shadowing is intensive. It should feel tiring physically for your mouth, mentally for your focus.
But not impossible.
Right. If it feels overwhelmingly difficult, that's usually a sign.
A sign of what?
A sign that you probably need to work on one of the other fluency elements first.
Back to the 5 elements.
Exactly. For instance, if you're constantly tripping up, can't keep pace, making loads of mistakes,
Yeah.
that likely points to needing better chunk encoding. You need those phrases more deeply memorized subconsciously.
Okay. What if the problem is translating in your head or just speaking really slowly, even when trying to shadow?
That strongly suggests you need to work on activation, getting the English you know to come out more automatically.
And if you just feel panicked or stressed trying to shadow?
That could be cognitive load being too high. Maybe try simpler, shorter materials first to build confidence and reduce that mental strain.
And finally, if your English just sounds kind of messy or confused when you try,
That might signal an issue with organization, how you're structuring the information mentally.
wow. So the difficulty itself is diagnostic. It tells you where else you need to focus your energy.
Precisely. It guides you. It reinforces that fluency is interconnected. You build the foundation first. Use the right exercise for the right problem.
That makes so much sense. Don't just bang your head against shadowing if the real issue lies elsewhere.
Exactly. Now, we also looked at a second source, which had a slightly different take on the practical steps. Still complementary, but a different angle.
Okay, yeah. Let's look at that perspective too. How did they define it?
Very similarly, actually. Closely following, imitating a native speaker, pronunciation, intonation, fluency. The goal is the same.
But the steps were a bit different.
Slightly different emphasis, yeah. One thing they stressed right at the start was consciously choosing an accent you want to aim for.
Like British or American?
Yeah, pick one, and then find video material with that accent that you actually find interesting.
Ah, the engagement factor. Makes sense you'll stick with it if you like the content.
Definitely. Then, their listening phase is also very active, but maybe emphasizes individual sounds a bit more.
How so?
They really push paying attention to specific pronunciation points, intonation contours, rhythm, pacing. They even mention using phonetic transcription if you need help with tricky sounds.
Phonetic transcription, like the symbols.
Yeah, International Phonetic Alphabet, IPA. It shows you exactly how sounds are made. Can be useful for sounds that aren't in your native language.
Okay, a bit more technical on the sound level. What about the repeating part?
Their suggestion was to repeat after each short pause in the audio.
Ah, so smaller segments.
Seems like it. Match the pace and intonation in those shorter bursts. Might feel less overwhelming than trying to shadow continuously for long stretches.
Yeah, I can see that working well. Breaking it down.
Then, a really key step in this second method. Record yourself.
Record your own shadowing.
Yes. And then compare your recording directly against the original speaker.
Oh, instant feedback.
Exactly. You hear the differences immediately. Where's your pronunciation off? Is your intonation flat? They even say keep recording and comparing until it's perfect.
Wow, aiming high. But that self-correction loop sounds powerful.
It really does. Very focused practice. And like the first source, they stress consistency. Practice regularly.
And enjoy it.
And enjoy it, yes. Choose stuff you like. They agree that improvement takes time and consistent effort.
So similar goals, slightly different paths. More focus here on accent choice, individual sounds, shorter repetition chunks, and that record compare cycle.
You've summed it up perfectly. Both valid approaches, just slightly different ways to structure the practice.
Okay, great. So let's wrap this up. What are the absolute main takeaways from this deep dive on shadowing?
I'd say the biggest one is this. Shadowing is powerful for physical fluency. The actual sound and flow of your speech when you do it right.
Which means focusing on
the chunks, the rhythm, the intonation, not just individual words, mimic the music of the language.
And for me, that aha moment was really understanding how native speakers use chunks and intonation variations for meaning. It's not just speed for speed's sake.
Absolutely. And the other crucial takeaway is self-awareness. Know where your challenges lie among those 5 fluency elements.
Right. Don't just shadow endlessly if your main issue is encoding chunks or activating what you know.
Exactly. Use shadowing as a tool, but make sure it's the right tool for your current needs. Difficulty shadowing can be a clue to work on those other areas first.
So a final thought for everyone listening. Think about those 5 elements: encoding, organization, activation, motor skill, cognitive load. Which one feels like your biggest hurdle right now? Could focusing on, say, encoding more chunks or practicing activation exercises before heavy shadowing unlock faster progress for you? And start listening actively. What specific word chunks do you hear again and again in the English around you every day? Understanding these things is key.
Great point. It's about smarter practice, not just harder practice.
Thanks for taking this deep dive with us today.